Yeah. Quick live stream out of nowhere. Live stream out of nowhere. Hanging out with you, recapping today in college football. There was no LSU games. See, I'm like regular, normal, neutral guy. Yeah, Jeffrey, hello. How you doing? We're just gonna do a hang out. It felt weird not doing a Saturday live stream. I don't know about you guys, but we got to stream. We got to do it. Jeffrey, it might just be me and you. It is for the better, Alex. So I wanted to hang out with you because I didn't want you guys. I didn't announce on the videos this week that we weren't going to do a live stream, or we were going to do a live stream. So I said, might as well just do it. Why not? We got 8 people here, and it's normally after games we get 100 people in here. Hold on, my mom is calling me at the beginning of the live stream. Hey, Mom, you're on a live stream with 100 people watching. Say hi to everybody.
Oops.
Oops. That's not what you're supposed to say. Say hi to everybody.
Well, can I say something?
Yeah, say something to all the people.
Gary Danielson drinks Nick Saban's bathwater.
Oh, my goodness. I love Gary. Why was...
He won't stop talking about Alabama. Is that the record I download? What's his name?
Yes, it's Gary Danielson. Oh, man, that is funny.
Well, I was just returning your call. I'm sorry I missed. I thought you needed something.
Okay, yeah, I love you, babe. I love you, Mom.
Did you need anything?
I didn't need it. I didn't need anything. Oh, my God.
Well, if you can't get me, text me, okay? I'm going to bed.
I know. All right, love you.
Love you too. Okay, bye.
Bye. This is a perfect live stream already. I didn't even know we were doing it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. What's up, Borbane? What's up, DBU7? Comment what you're doing right now. Okay, let me know. Did you guys actually watch college football today? Do you guys actually care about the world of college football outside of LSU? Because honestly, something very liberating happened to me today. I didn't watch hardly any college football. I watched the fourth quarter of the Arkansas game. My girlfriend and I, you're playing Red Dead Redemption? That's cool. You only watch LSU. That's how I am too. I care about the other college football teams. If I'm hanging out with people, I don't mind watching another college football game. But the honest truth is that I feel as if I watch too much college football. I don't spend time with my girlfriend. I don't spend time with my dog. I don't spend time, doing the important things in life. And there's a fight tonight, Luma versus Lopez. Is it boxing? Is that what that is? I bought some UFC cards. So earlier today, my girlfriend and I went on a birthday dinner, and we made the mistake of, and Luke, we're going to get to your comment in a minute because I actually came on this live stream to say exactly what Luke said. And I'll go ahead and say it before I get into my day. Okay? College football sucks this year. Not only from an LSU fan. Of course, we had the Florida State upset over North Carolina today. But the Georgia-Alabama game sucked. We thought we were going to get a competitive game like the national championship game, but it was typical old Bama. I'm happy growing up in Arkansas, being from Baton Rouge. I'm happy to see Arkansas be great. I'm happy that the Battle of the Golden Boot is going to be competitive again. I don't like the fact that Arkansas, I can't believe I'm going to say this, Arkansas later this year is probably going to be favored over LSU. But let's be honest. With all the horrible crap that's gone on this year has weighed so heavily on us. And I know college football is our escape. And I know my YouTube channel is an escape from everything. Okay? But like Luke said, okay? It's not the same. This is not the same. We need fans. We need tailgating. We don't need these restrictions that we have to live by. It sucks. So like Jesse said, I just mentioned that North Carolina lost to Florida State. I mean, it would be one thing if Clemson lost today, but this is North Carolina. They were bound to lose. And I like North Carolina. I like what Mac Jones has done. Mac Brown. I like Sam Howell, their quarterback. But, with LSU just sucking, I've actually been a little bit more interested watching the LSU rookies than, all the other teams in the SEC. It's normally not like that. But, I'm very happy I didn't sit and watch college football all day. And I think this is a good thing. I think it's good when LSU is not on the TV to not just sit and watch college football all day, because there's always something better you could do at your time than not sit and watch college football. I really do mean that. And I find myself, whenever I sit and watch Red Zone all day, or when I sit and watch whatever all day, I feel like trash. I feel like straight trash. FSU lost by 40 to Miami. And like Borbane saying, the ACC is a joke. It really is a joke. It's Clemson and everybody else. And North Carolina losing today is a further example of that. So anyway. Yeah. Well, no, okay. To counter that, Alex, I'm not saying it's wrong to sit and watch college football. It's not that long of a season. What I'm saying is sitting all day long. It could be a little bit of a drag. So, personally, I went out of town. I went to a card show. I found some rare Army All-American cards for $2 still in the pack. So, if you guys want me to open up these cards, give me a thumbs up. That's if you want to do that. If not, and that's the thing, Alex, I'm not calling anyone out. I'm not calling anybody out for spending your time doing whatever. I'm telling you that when LSU didn't play, or when LSU played a very early or a late game, what I would do is just sit and watch all the games. And now that when LSU is not playing, I find myself more energized to just focus on LSU, which is what this channel is all about. So what I want to do is talk about what DBU7 said. But anyway, first thing, and this is just a good rule to live by. Unless you live in Louisiana, if you're from Louisiana, don't eat at seafood restaurants that are not in Louisiana or Baltimore or an area that is off the coast. So it's my girlfriend's birthday, okay? Now look, guys, I need your help. We were going to go to this fancy sushi restaurant, which we always go to. Now, I'm not rich. Heck, I just got word today that I'll probably start getting some money because I'm monetized, or I'm about to be monetized. I just got the word from Google today. So we're going on a fancy dinner, all right? Instead of going to the sushi restaurant, my girlfriend wants to go to this oyster place, okay? It's in Arkansas. I knew I was walking into a disaster, okay? The food was overpriced, and it wasn't nearly as good as home. So there's nothing more, and I want you guys, and we're going to get back to football in a second. This is just me giving you an important life tip, okay? This goes out to Larry, Borbane, DBU7, David, all you guys listening. If you're from Louisiana, or if you live in Louisiana, when you go outside of Louisiana, don't go to a seafood restaurant. The food very well might be good for an Arkansas seafood restaurant, okay? It is not good for us, okay? I had bad seafood tonight. When it comes to bad food, there's no version of bad food worse than bad seafood. Because the gap between good seafood and bad seafood is the same gap that exists between Alabama and Vanderbilt. Okay? Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay? And if I'm interrupting a college football live broadcast right now, the best way you can lose viewers is if you don't talk about football. So I'm risking a lot because a lot of you could go back to, like Jeffrey said, playing Red Dead Redemption. Don't do it. Don't do it. So on the way back, we had a 2-hour drive back, okay, to where I live. My girlfriend knows, okay, and I love her to death. We're going to get married one day. It was her birthday meal, okay? I had to foot the bill. Not only was this seafood horrible, okay? It was so bad. It was $30 more than our normal fancy sushi restaurant. Sushi! I love sushi. We can't get sushi where we live. You live in Baton Rouge, right, Borbane? We'll go. If you live next time I'm in Baton Rouge, we all need to go out somewhere. But it's the worst. It's the absolute worst. And she felt so bad. She got these little baby shrimp. People, these shrimp she got were not seasoned. What kind of joint is this? My grandmother is rolling in her grave knowing that I ate at this place tonight. She would disown me if she walked in and watched me eating this unseasoned shrimp. Unseasoned shrimp, and the oysters we got were this tiny. Probably. Yeah, DBU7, we'll hang out, man. Just hit me up. Shoot me a message on Twitter at Carter the Power. I still don't know the best way to contact you guys on YouTube. Carter, I tried boiling pot seafood in Mobile, Alabama. It sucked. But Luke says seafood in Mobile is okay. On you, Borbane? Okay, we'll go. If you live in Baton Rouge, me, you, and DBU7 will go out. Let's do it. Just hit me up, man. I would give you my phone number over this live stream, but that probably wouldn't be a good idea. I'd have some Russian bots calling me, telling me to vote for Joe Jorgensen or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Back to football. Did anybody actually care that LSU didn't even play today? That's a good question, Luke. I personally didn't. Okay, this is why I didn't, because this Saturday was supposed to be for my girlfriend's birthday anyway. Okay? We had a good time. I went to a card show while she went shopping. So I got to spend some time with her. But I just didn't. A break is sometimes good. Okay? Now, let me put it this way. Okay? A break, and this is a universal answer. There is a correct answer to Luke's question. A break is always easier when you're losing, okay? Now, if you're winning, 2019 season, I wish that season lasted forever, okay? By the way, if y'all want me to open these cards, let me know. I don't know. I think these are 2009. If y'all want me to open them a little bit later, I will. Let's see. Open them up. We'll get to it in a moment. God, these look so cool. 2000. Somebody did Russell Shepard play in the 2000? I guess this is from the 2008. I hope there's an autograph card in there. Let's see. Open them up, Cody. We'll get to it in a second. Oh, so Russell Shepard played, so he could be in this pack because this is from 2009. Wasn't Russell Shepard 2009? Was he 2009 Army All-American? Could someone look that up for me real quick? That would be cool if there was a Russell Shepard auto in here. So let's talk about what Larry's talking about. I'm curious to know how LSU worked to get better on defense, right? Luke says another question. I hate the Bo Pelini is getting but defense was pretty bad last year. I mean, we had moments. No. So let's talk about what Luke's talking about, because I don't feel like 2009. Okay, so a Russell Shepard card could be in here. If I pull a Russell Shepard, if it's not an auto, I'll give it to one of you guys. Okay, he could be in here. So let's talk about what Luke said. So this is a myth about the college football LSU 2019 team. Two myths about the LSU defense, okay? Number one is that the LSU defense was bad, okay? Remember, and this is so key, have you noticed in the SEC this year that the defenses across the board have not been as good as the defenses were in the past? So what does that mean? Well, what that means is that a lot of people saw what LSU did in 2019. And this has been a gradual shift that all schools have been going through. SEC games are playing more up-tempo, all right? SEC football, they are playing more snaps per game. And when you play more snaps per game, and when you play more plays per game, your offense tends to get better. Now, why does your offense get better? Well, it's simple. You have more plays to be successful, you play at a higher tempo, and your defense gets tired. So, the truth about the 2019 defense, Luke, you are correct. That was the worst defense statistically under Dave Aranda. But on an efficiency basis, okay, this is according to my buddy Adam. He is CFB professor on Twitter. I had a long discussion with him about this. On a per play basis, the 2019 LSU defense was as efficient as the 2018 LSU defense. But the defense gave up 38 points to Vanderbilt. You want to know why they gave up so many points to Vanderbilt? Because LSU scored so quickly, and it was a road game. It was an 11 a.m. game. It was hot. They had played Texas the week before. It's hard, okay? But here are some truths about the 2019 LSU defense. They gave up 30 points in 4 games last year. Sounds like a lot. But what if I told you 30 points only happen on the road? Let me repeat. 30 points happen on the road. And as Chris pointed out, Vanderbilt, LSU had 2 defensive touchdowns in that game. Whenever you have a defensive touchdown, that means your defense has to go right back onto the field. They get no break. Thus, they get tired as the game goes on. That's why pick sixes aren't always the absolute best thing, because the defense has to go right back out on the field. That's what happened to LSU in that game. They got very tired. Now, the LSU defense, it's a good point. So that answers your question, hopefully, Luke, that the LSU defense wasn't that great last year, right? This is where they were bad, okay? What's up, James? James and Rustin. I almost went to Rustin tonight. We decided to go to Little Rock. So this is a truth, okay? If you want a hard truth about the LSU defense, this is where I will defend what Luke said earlier, okay? The LSU defense against Alabama gave up 4 touchdowns in Alabama's final 4 drives. And yes, that's Alabama. Yes, that's Tua, but that is unacceptable. You should never give up 4 touchdowns in the final 4 drives of a game. That is a losing formula. But that was after an incredible first half. And by the way, the Alabama defense last year was historically good. I mean, the Alabama offense last year was historically good. Did you know that Alabama per play actually averaged more yards per play than LSU did? Now, that doesn't mean that their offense was better. They didn't play the same level of competition LSU played last year. But that just shows you that, when you gave up 4 touchdowns, you gave up 4 touchdowns in the final 4 drives versus Tua Tagovailoa and probably the most talented 4 wide receiver set we've ever seen in the history of college football. So keep that in mind. It's one thing. And then they gave up 5 touchdowns in the second half they gave up 4 touchdowns and a field goal in the final 5 possessions against Texas. That's unacceptable. You can't give up a score every drive of the second half. But outside of those 2 games, yes, you had the game against Ole Miss that looked awful. That was back-to-back road games, though, where the week before they played Alabama. Then the Vanderbilt game. But outside of those 4 games, I will take a defense that did not give up 30 points all year in home games and neutral site games. Think about that. As bad as we say the Alabama Crimson Tide or the LSU defense was, this isn't revisionist history. They were actually good. And you're right, Luke. Like I said, they shouldn't have given up all those touchdowns and yards. But in Dave Aranda's defense, you know who gave up a lot of those touchdowns and first downs? Derek Stingley Jr., his best player on defense last year. His All-American corner had one awful game, and that was against Alabama, and he had an awful game. No defending Derek Stingley Jr. there. But I can live with Derek Stingley Jr. being the problem. If your best player is a problem, then it's a rarity. What's up, Tristan? We were talking about Alabama. Are you in the closet or something? Oh, are you saying that I'm in the closet? Or am I doing this broadcast in a closet? No, I'm doing this broadcast. My studio here is set up in a laundry room. But no, I myself am not in the closet. I have a girlfriend who is sound asleep upstairs. Pitch dark. Oh, okay. No, so my other light before I did this live broadcast just went out. So yeah, you can barely see me. Let me get more in the light. But no, these curtains are black. Let's see. We miss Patrick Queen. Yeah. I mean, he was a first-round pick. You know what's funny is if I were to ask you before the national championship game who was a better linebacker, Patrick Queen or Jacob Phillips, you wouldn't be able to really answer that clearly until after the championship game. So I always found that very interesting. Alex says, I'm surprised how bad Cox is playing. You know what's funny? I'm not. And the main reason I'm not is because on tape, and I didn't watch much of his North Dakota State tape, but the biggest knock on him was box-to-box linebacking. He is not a thumper, okay? You think of all the great LSU linebackers, they were real thumpers, all right? Devin White likes to hit. Kelvin Shepard likes to hit. So if you think of the great linebackers, they are actual thumpers. Heck, Jacob Kutrera, whoever you want to mention. Neither one of the linebackers, Clark or Cox, are real thumpers, guys that you fear when you come through the hole. Neither one of them are big-time hitters. So imagine if we had Ali Gay last year. Yeah, for sure. Actually, let me see. You know what? I don't think Ali Gay would have worked as well. He's a 4-3 defensive end. Now, BJ Ojolari would fit a 3-4 a little bit better than Ali Gay. Ali Gay is a 4-3 defensive end. So where he's fitting now, I don't think there would have been a role for him in last year's LSU defense. Because that defense, that wasn't a traditional defensive end defense. What's up, Jason? How you doing? So a lot of you are and James makes a point about Jabril Cox. Pelini better adapt. So a lot of you are making the point about Mississippi State. So yeah, they're bad. And this is the funniest thing about that game, because obviously the Mississippi State game is always going to be a game where we remember the number 623. 623 yards through the air, which is 200 more yards LSU has given up through the air since 2014. Okay? What's up, Michael? Thank you. I appreciate that. So, let's discuss this, all right? Mississippi State's not a good football team. And when I went back and rewatched the tape, I remember so many of you guys sending me messages saying, oh, Mississippi State looks good. I mean, they could win the West this year. They look awful. And when I rewatched the game, I just don't know. Okay. And we're putting all this trust in Bo Pelini. And yes, it was just one game. Now we had the Missouri game. All right. Now, you guys know I don't brag a whole lot. I miss on a lot of predictions, okay? But two predictions that are looking pretty good right now. Number one, Miles Brennan will be an all-SEC quarterback. He's probably the second or third best quarterback right now in the SEC. Hasn't really played a tough defense, but it's looking pretty good that he's going to be first or second team all-SEC right now. Obviously depends on what Kellen Mond does and Kyle Trask, and Mac Jones looks pretty good right now. But, Miles, if he keeps it up, he's the second highest rated passer right now according to Pro Football Focus. The other bold prediction I made in the offseason was the Bo Pelini hire was horrible. What's up, Yusha from Ukraine? So I went back and watched the Mississippi State game, and people that are way smarter than me and people that don't know a whole lot about football, okay, like my mother, who you heard earlier in the broadcast, were telling me, why aren't we switching to zone? So here's the thing. You pay this guy $2.3 million a year to do something my mother would have done, okay? That shows you the extent of the problem. And this is what happens when you hire a guy who was content in his role at Youngstown State and you fork over an amount of money that he cannot turn down. This is what you'll do. This is what happens. Every time you drink, you get a headache. Well, then quit drinking. I moved over to, I actually quit drinking. I'm going to drink at my best friend's wedding this next weekend. But I'm drinking Brookshire's, or if you're in Baton Rouge, Albertsons sweet tea or unsweet tea with a punch mix. And it's superb. What are y'all drinking right now? What's up, Mike? What are you drinking, Luke? What's causing your headache? So, by the way, if we get up to 45 viewers, we're going to open up this pack of Army All-American cards that I got at a card show earlier today for $2. A Russell Shepard autograph card could be in here. Swamp Pop. Jesse, you're drinking Mountain Dew? Okay, Tristan, look. Here's the thing. Tristan's a Bama fan, and first off, Tristan has the best last name ever. Us Bryants, think about all the great Bryants, all right? There's so many great Bryants that have existed throughout the world. Obviously, there's Kobe. There's Howard Bryant. great writer for ESPN. Us Bryants, we are the greatest. The greatest of all time. But Tristan's a Bama fan, and he's not included in the GOAT circle, okay? I'd give the Arkansas defensive coordinator a blank check. So the funniest thing about it was one of my favorite plays this year was Arkansas and the over 1.5 wins, simply because their coaching staff was so bad. Arkansas's coaching staff last year was the worst coaching staff I've ever seen assembled. And I was doing radio in Arkansas at the time, and all these Razorback homers would call into my show and tell me, you're just putting down on the Razorbacks. I'm like, no, you hired John Chavis. I'm an LSU fan. I know how bad John Chavis is. So Arkansas fired the worst coaching staff ever, and they hired what looks to be the coaching staff of the year. They should be a 3-1 football team. So if I would have just actually played the Arkansas over, I would have already cashed my ticket. Let's see. Tristan's eating some Spam. Well, Coach O's a responsible person for Bo's hire. Coach said defense is much. I hated that. That puts so much unnecessary pressure. Okay? The only time I ever hated Coach O more than him saying that, and I said it at the time, don't hype him up. I hope I have to open it live on Power Hour LSU. Trying to get some more people into the live stream so we can open this pack. So it was horrible. Do you remember when Coach O gave Jonathan Giles the number 7 jersey? I was screaming into a void when Coach O did that. And I love Coach O. He made the greatest assistant coaching hire last year in Joe Brady. This year, he just happened to make the worst. But what is worse than anything else is giving Jonathan Giles the number 7 jersey. You don't give him the jersey, okay? You don't go Leonard Fournette to Jonathan Giles, who had never played an SEC game. He played in the freaking Big 12. How could we forget? I don't know what happened to Jonathan Giles. So you know what, Yusha, I was saying this. Somebody was commenting on my YouTube videos about Georgia's defense. And I was like, let's see how they do against Alabama. Turns out they're a bunch of frauds. But then again, it's Alabama. And I'm not going to lie, I love Jamar Chase. But I want your honest opinion, okay? If you had to choose between a college receiver, or let me put it this way. You're an NFL team, and you have to choose one receiver. You have to choose Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle. Who are you taking? Who are you taking? Are you taking Jamar Chase over Jalen Waddle right now? Tell me. We're going to get to Yusha's question here in just a moment. And Jesse makes a good point. Not a big fan of number 7 or 18s either. Depends. Do I need him in the return game? No, I'm just saying as a receiver. So, it's kind of hard for me to take Jalen Waddle over Jamar Chase simply based off the Clemson game alone. The Clemson performance is probably one of the greatest performances in LSU history. 9 catches, 221 yards, 2 TDs. He dropped a touchdown in the fourth quarter. Jamar was just filthy good against 2 NFL corners, put A.J. Terrell in a body bag. But here's the difference. Jamar Chase is really fast. Jalen Waddle is stupid fast. I'll tell you this. Last year I tweeted this out. You can go find the tweet. I said I would take Jalen Waddle over any of the Bama receivers. I'll take him over Judy. I'll take him over Ruggs. I'll take him over Smith. So a lot of you are taking, hey, no homophobia, Alex. I'm not about that, even though Tristan is an idiot. But Jamar killed C.J. Henderson. Good point. He did really well. C.J. won some battles. So I would take Smith is sneaky good too, man. He's got hands and speed. I'll tell you this. Devonta Smith lit our boy Derek Stingley up last year. I mean, he lit him up. That was the only time Stingley looked overmatched. That was it. So Devonta Smith is a really good player. It's a little painful for us knowing that he's from Louisiana. But yeah. So, I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I would still take Jamar Chase. I really would still take Jamar Chase. Simply because of that Clemson game. And the whole year of work also matters. But Jalen Waddle, it's just the speed is just stupid on that guy. It's stupid. So, yeah. Honestly, though, Jamar Chase would still be dominating now. But he's not the problem. But tonight, would you take Smith or Jefferson all day? I do think Jefferson's better than Smith. It's close. But the problem with Smith, and this is why he didn't come out last year. I had an NFL exec tell me this. He said that Smith is just too light. And I actually agree with him. I just think Smith would get jammed so hard at the next level. And I think Jerry Jeudy's struggling with that some now. And Chris makes a good point here. I can argue that, and I rarely would say this because wide receivers are more valuable than corners, but the Kerry Vincent opt-out was pretty big. And this is a big reason why is Kerry Vincent Jr. was, according, and this is just some behind-the-scenes stuff, Kerry Vincent Jr. was an incredible athlete. Not a good athlete, not a great athlete, but an incredible athlete. So LSU has all these fancy, smancy tools that they measure athleticism. And I did a whole video on it with Tommy Moffitt. I don't know how many of you watched that video. But, and you're right, Donovan, he did run track. But even outside of track, all the metrics that they use to determine, like recovery speed, how fast your body recovers after games and all of that, Kerry Vincent Jr. was in the elite echelon on out of everyone. Now think about LSU. All the elite athletes they have on the team, Kerry Vincent Jr. is up there. So here's the problem. Earlier this year, we saw this against Mississippi State. The LSU defensive backs got really tired. Now, most of that was due to Bo Pelini being, an idiot that game. But a lot of it was the fact that they're not in shape. Okay? Kerry Vincent Jr. can not only run really fast, he can run really fast for a very long time. So, Luke says, why can't we just get another Tyrann Mathieu? Because guess what? We'll probably never see a defensive player like him. Kerry Vincent all around LSU. Okay. Plus missing his experience. Hell, he shut down Clemson. He ended the season really strong. And I think that's what Kerry Vincent said to himself. I think he saw the LSU defense and then said, look, his film in the final few games of the year was elite. I just think he couldn't see himself improving. So let me say this to Tristan, okay, since he's a Bama fan talking so much trash. And you sure we're going to get to your question in just a moment. I hope you're still there. There you go. I wouldn't be able to keep my cool on every stream like you asking these questions. But here's the thing, Tristan. And I said this at the time. Did a whole video on this. If Coach O didn't punt on 4th and 1 against Alabama when we were up 33-13, ball on Alabama's 40-yard line, we would have gone down and scored and choked the living daylights out of you. But Coach O decided to be nice to you and let y'all back in the game. Joe Burrow that night, with Chase playing the way that he was playing, Clyde playing the way that he was playing, we probably would have dropped 70. We had 33 in the third, bruh. We would have gone. We probably would have hung 100. But Coach O decided to punt, decided to let y'all get back in the game, to let the CBS executives have a close game. So that's what happened, Tristan. So you can't come on an LSU live stream and talk that trash. Because here's the thing. I understand, Tristan. I understand. Maybe you should go find a Georgia live stream and talk trash. But you're talking about LSU because you just can't handle us, baby. We're still in your heads. You still have not gotten over when we came to Tuscaloosa and kicked y'all's ass. When LSU at midfield said, this is our house. So I understand, Tristan. It feels, I know you want to be us. You want to be us, Tristan. I understand that. You're so lucky that Coach O decided to punt there. Because that's the only reason this game wasn't any close. Anyway, I want to get to Yusha because he is watching in a time zone 10 time zones over from where I am right now. So he asked a good question. Do you think we're losing viewers? Once again, we got to get to 40 viewers. I'll probably just open them anyway. Anyway, will we finish Roll Tide? What? Roll Tide. What? That's still the greatest. Actually, wasn't it Kerry Vincent Jr. who live streamed that? Roll Tide. What? I can't say that because YouTube will demonetize this video. Got sent from the SEC rant. What is the SEC rant? What's up, Vice Man? Roll Tide. What F you? I think we're gonna get some legends in this pack. Let's go ahead and open. Oh yeah, your question. I'm a horrible person. Are we gonna actually finish the season? The answer to that is I don't know. But normally, answers to those questions have a lot to do with money. Okay? Are there people that are more powerful than any of us? And by more powerful, I'm talking about the Nick Sabans. I'm talking about the Greg Sankeys. I'm talking about the Bill Hancocks. Do they want the season to be finished? Do they want the season to be played? Those are the people you have to worry about, okay? When anything wants to be done in sports, you always find the most powerful person in that sport. You always find the most powerful network executive. And then you always find the most powerful league commissioner. So, say the NBA. LeBron James wanted to play. Adam Silver wanted to play. And ESPN wanted to play. Bottom line, you're going to play. And college football, Nick Saban wants to play. Obviously, Ohio State wants to play. Those are the two most powerful brands along with Clemson. Bill Hancock of the College Football Playoff Committee. He calls all the shots. He wants to play. ESPN wants to play. The games are going to be finished. Okay? Bottom line. Oh, thank you, Vice. I appreciate that, man. SEC rant. Come on in. That's cool. If we get to 40, we'll start opening. Let's see. Bought these for $2 today at a card show. Let's see if I can actually get this. Don't want to actually. The tongue on this is way down there. Let me see. Vice Man. Oh, there's an LSU group on there. Tampa Bay. What's up, Chet? God, dog. What is the deal with this box? There we go. Okay. Here we go. So these are high school All-American cards. I'm shocked that these cards even exist. All right. Let's see what we got here. Game-worn jersey here from... that kind of sucks. Bryce Brown. Do y'all remember Bryce Brown? He sucked in college too. I wanted this to be a Russell Shepard. Okay, let's see. We'll start. Bryce Brown. Okay. Taj Boyd. Y'all remember Taj Boyd? You want College Football Nation? All football fans welcome. Plenty of smack talk. That's cool, man. All right. Orson Charles, Yuck, Roderick McDaniel, Aaron Murray. Remember that? Not gonna lie, these kind of suck. Jeremy Gallen. This company is called Razor. Doesn't Razor actually make scooters? Isn't Razor a scooter company? Aaron Murray, right? These suck. I'm getting the crappiest players from this game. Who is Jerron Stokes? Yeah, Taj Boyd lit our asses up. I'm getting a bunch of no-namers. Edwin Baker. Donovan Tate. I'm losing viewers because these players suck so bad. Dante Moss, Jake Golick, Dorian Bell. Can I not get players that were actually good? Who's Kevin Newsom? Okay, here's someone that I actually know. Tom Savage. And what really freaking sucks is that there wasn't the Under Armour All-American game. So all the best players played in this game, and I'm getting sucky players. Okay? Kendrick Hardy, Logan Thomas. I actually have his NFL rookie cards. Okay, if y'all want to chat SEC football or watch me go through these. Okay, finally, somebody. No, all of these cards suck. Every single one of them. DJ Fluker. The best player has been a Bama player. I'll send this to you, Tristan. Kendall Kelly. And look at this. We get another Bama grade, Dre Kirkpatrick. Are you kidding me? AJ McCarron? How in the hell do I get all Bama guys? Adam Hall. Okay, this one's kind of cool. Vontez Perfect. Ronnie Wingo. I think he played at Arkansas, actually. Tyreek Rollison. Adam Bridgeford. I got all the bombs in this class. Go Army, beat Navy all day. Bryce McNeil. Finally, guys. Finally. Boom. Ruben Randall. That's why it was $2. It was all Bama guys. This guy was a bust at LSU. Let me know if you remember him. Chris Davenport. 5-star defensive tackle at LSU. No good. Sheldon Richardson. He was a really good player. Shaquille Evans. Sherry Wood. Jamarcus McFarland. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's go. PP7, let's go. Let's go, guys. Let's go. PP7, let's go. Greg Timmons, Chris Wally, Alex Okafor's okay. Christian Michael. What's the story on Chris Davenport? What happened? I think I kind of knew him in college. Randall Carroll. He did not like Les. Okay. TJ McDonald. Coy Detmer Jr. What is this? I didn't know Ray Lewis the third was an actual. Is this Ray Lewis's son? And look at this. This is strange. Let me see. Okay, this card might actually be worth something. And I'm actually going to put this in a sleeve. I want you guys to look at this, okay? So in card collecting, if you get a good card, you want to put it in a sleeve immediately. I want you to see this, okay? A youth academy, Christian McCaffrey. This is him in 7th grade. Okay? That is wild. And I know his dad was a great player. That is such a strange card. A 7th grade Christian McCaffrey pull. How crazy is that? I've lost all the viewers because I'm the only nerd that cares about cards. Okay. Rhett Bomar. Okay. We're starting to get some goods right here. Ray Lewis worked the concession stand? Brian Brown. This one's cool. This guy was kind of good in college, right? He was kind of good. Reggie. Josh Freeman. This shows our age. Ted Ginn Jr. Percy Harvin. Chad Henne. Okay. Deshaun Jackson, who actually fumbled before he went into the end zone. Adrian Peterson. Brady Quinn. Mark Sanchez. Beanie Wells. And take a look at this one. Vince Young. So there you go. All right, before we get out of here, what do y'all want to talk about? You got a signed Isaiah Ford card. Okay. I wonder. That is so strange. A Christian McCaffrey in 7th grade. I'm actually going to top load it. I doubt there are many of these out there. There we go. No Saints game this week, right? That kind of sucks. Yeah, so Walmart's going to be sold out because the cards are so valuable now. Um, Lucky enough, at my local Walmart, I was able to get a few packs. But yeah, they're going to sell out everywhere. So, since half of my viewers left, I wanted to reward you guys for some of you that actually were here for the card pulling. So there you go. Now our viewers are coming back. Whatever you want to talk about, um, Target's going to be sold out. Don't waste your time. They're going to be sold out. Going to watch Anthony Bourdain, the legend. I like that. So whatever you want to talk about, go on ahead. Before we get out of here, if you have any questions, God bless you, Yusha. We will see you on Tuesday night. Okay. Well, it's Tuesday. Well, no, it can't be too late. What time is it right now in Ukraine? I know I ask you that every time. Let's see. What time is it in Ukraine? Oh, it's 7:45 a.m. 7:45 a.m. in Ukraine. That is wild. 8 a.m. Yeah, wow. So you got a full day ahead of you. I'm surprised you get up this early. Marcel Brooks would not be a good fit in this defense. That's a good question, though, Chris. Michael blames Zion for the card prices. That's a little complicated. I don't think a lot of people want to hear me talk the card industry because I'm also kind of new to it. But I wouldn't blame Zion so much. What happened was the Michael Jordan documentary sent this whole card industry into a frenzy. Are you getting ready to go to church? That's good, Yusha. And you get ready by watching Anthony Bourdain. That's great. That's good. Anthony Bourdain gets me in a good mood too. I like him. God, TPVN. Why are you gonna ask me that question? So Marcel Brooks would be a better fit. I already answered that. It's late. I blame Zion for the card prices. He's a big reason why the card prices are up. But it was really the Jordan frenzy, and then so many people rushed into the hobby, like myself. But yeah, like a lot of this stuff is just way too expensive. I'll light a candle for you and our Tigers. Yes, please say a prayer for us. Is LSU the worst defending national champion? We have to wait and see. Auburn wasn't good the year after they won it, but LSU looks like they are the worst defending national champion simply because, well, we're not any good. Let's see. Do you think the LSU defense is fixable this year? Yes. The question. So, Bama's going to score over 100. You know what? I don't think so. I think the LSU defense is not good enough to stop Alabama. However, they do get an extra week to prepare for it. So that still might not be enough. They'll probably still score 100. Ole Miss might run up 100. South Carolina beat Auburn. That didn't shock me. If you were to put a gun to my head to pick that game, I would pick South Carolina. If you've actually sat down and watched the games, and I know I started this broadcast off with saying don't watch too much college football because it's only going to infuriate you this year. If you actually watch the games, you've seen South Carolina's offense look really good. They got a hell of a transfer quarterback in Colin Hill, who will be back next year because this year doesn't count against your eligibility. And LSU fans should be very worried about South Carolina because they can move the football. They also have a physical running game, and they have a head coach who is on the brink of disaster. Yeah, I mean, he was good at Colorado State. He's good now. I mean, the kid can play. Colin Hill can play. And I kind of spit there. I could definitely see him playing at the next level as a clipboard holder, not as an actual starter, but he's a smart kid. He puts the football where only his receivers can catch it. And when you go back and watch the Florida film, his receivers were dropping so many passes. And he doesn't have a great defense to work with. So South Carolina's a really good football team because they got something at quarterback. Um, let's see, some other questions. Who was better, Anthony Jennings or Brandon Harris? My answer to that question is, why in the hell would you ask me that an hour into this live stream? That is like choosing between would I rather eat thorns or fiberglass? That is the exact same question you're asking me. Was this bound to happen to LSU, or does the COVID-19 issues play a factor? They do, because LSU had a new passing game coordinator and a new defensive coordinator. With that said, Arkansas had both of the same, and they look incredible right now. They look really freaking good right now. And Will Muschamp isn't a good coach, but if you have elite quarterback play, it matters. Something else we've learned is that both South Carolina and Arkansas are very experienced teams. Auburn and LSU, lots of inexperience at key spots. What's the news on Eric Gilbert, Terrace Marshall, and Miles? Are they still hurt? Don't know too much about Miles Brennan's health because I kind of blindsided people. The biggest takeaway, though, is that Miles Brennan, if he has the opportunity to run out of bounds, he should run out of bounds. Terrace Marshall, I don't know too much about that. Eric Gilbert, I think, should be healthy. But, going into this year, we knew Eric Gilbert had with the injury in the spring. We'll see. Interested to see how much Jordan Birch plays against us. LSU could definitely use Jordan Birch right now. But if you get Mason Smith, you get Corey Foreman, the other defensive ends in the class. Jaquelin Roy looks okay. So, yeah, I think Jordan Birch was going to South Carolina the whole time. I really do. Can we go back to 2019, right? Yeah. But, here's the biggest thing that concerns me. And it's not so much that, 2019, we all know that. But something else is like most of the LSU Tigers from that team have done pretty well as rookies. Joe Burrows look good. Clyde's look good. Justin Jefferson's look good. Patrick Queen's look good. Joe Brady's look good. Why do offenses nowadays run shotgun in short yardage situations? So, it's a good question, Michael. What I want you to do, okay? Let's see. Charles getting a start tomorrow also. Can Will Wade coach the defense? Good question. Remember just 2 years ago, offense was our problem, right? That's what happens when you don't have Devin White anymore. You see, Jeff, that's exactly why I went out of town today. I wish you were there at the beginning of the broadcast. This was exactly what I was talking about. No LSU, no Saints. I'm not even wearing LSU colors, which I always do normally. Damian Lewis, had a few penalty issues the first few weeks, but he's been pretty good. I think South Carolina beats LSU. That's not a rash opinion. It's going to be interesting to see what the line is going to be on that game. I would still think Vegas would have LSU as a slight favorite simply because LSU had an off week. So if I were to guess the line right now, LSU is going to be a 4-point favorite next week, 3 or a 4-point favorite. But if you put a gun to my head, I would probably pick South Carolina. The last time South Carolina came to Tiger Stadium was because of a hurricane. The time before that was 2012, the Jeremy Hill breakout game, which was one of my favorite games to attend. I was actually on the sideline for that whole game, and it was wild. I was a cameraman, actually, for that game. So we'll talk about that this week. Yeah, not just because it's a home game, but LSU had this weekend off. So yeah, let's see. Also, UGA can never win the big games. All bark, no bite when it comes down to it. Okay, so let's talk about that. All right, it just depends. So you take Georgia. Alabama didn't stop LSU. LSU should have blown the brakes out of Alabama. LSU let them back in it. And there was some poor coaching in that, some poor defense. So LSU blew out Alabama. LSU blew out Oklahoma. LSU blew out basically everyone not named Auburn or Clemson. Alabama, I still consider that a blowout victory. It took a miraculous comeback to even make that close. And Paper Airplane is right. UGA is a far better team than LSU right now. I wasn't in love with Georgia going into the year, though. I thought they were a top 10 team. I don't think that this was Georgia's best team, though. They lost a lot. But I will say, Pickens is a good player. Bennett looks okay at quarterback, so we'll see what they do from here. Home advantage no longer exists. True. I agree that to an extent, though. I still think playing back-to-back road games is really hard. And, I'm not making excuses for LSU against Missouri because you should never lose to Missouri. But playing a back-to-back road game with that second game being an 11 a.m. game is really brutal on your body. Burton caught a TD tonight. I don't know Burton. UGA hasn't won anything significant since the 80s. You think Daniels is going to transfer out of Georgia? I'm not sure. That's a good question. I'm not sure. I still believe LSU should have gone after JT Daniels. Or if they did and didn't get him, that's fine. But, I think JT Daniels can play at the SEC level. I really do. What's up, Josh? LSU should try and hire Dan Quinn. You know what? I don't think you're the first to say that. I think that'd be interesting. It's worked out well for Arkansas. Hire a head coach who was good, not great, still with something to prove. It would make a lot of sense. I think I'd like it. I would. Especially now that more NFL offenses are running the spread. But my counter to that is the problem with the Atlanta Falcons has been the defense. So, yeah, that would be my big issue. And to be honest, Barry Odom should have never been fired at Missouri. I still don't fully get that decision. And I know Missouri just beat us with their new head coach. But Barry Odom, the success he had at Missouri was actually pretty good. Gary Pinkel was obscenely good. That's because he was Gary Pinkel. He's one of the best SEC coaches ever. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, here's the thing with Dan Quinn. Because he went to a Super Bowl, there's going to be a team that hires him to be the defensive coordinator in the NFL. And I don't see a scenario where he leaves the NFL, even if it's for a $2 million a year salary at LSU. And that's something else, Bulldog. He's already reached his peak. So we'll see. Are you saying for Atlanta? Go get Kiffin? Sure. Why not? Hell, go get Sam Pittman. That dude is coaching his ass off. He's been the best coach in college football by a mile. That's a good point, Tampa Bay. That's a really good point. Something else about that game, and this is only for diehard LSU fans. This was the craziest thing about that game, okay? So, LSU was not, and I know this is going to sound really strange, okay? What I'm about to say is going to be very, very, very strange. But that LSU Georgia game that happened in Tiger Stadium was not, and I repeat, not a home game for LSU. They literally put Justin Fields in because we were beating the brakes off of him. Justin Fields should have been the starter from the get-go. But it's tough to put a true freshman in, especially the year after. Oh, no, that was year free. Was that year 3 of Jake Fromm or year 2? It was year 2, right? Because 27. Yeah, it was year 2. So, what happened about that LSU Georgia game is a pretty interesting story about the LSU schedule. It was a year after the national championship. So, here was the difference. Georgia was legit a national championship contender when they came to LSU. So, there was actually, if you ask people that were actually at the game, and I'd have to go back, I would say Tiger Stadium was probably 65-35 LSU fans. Maybe closer to 60-40. So, this is what happened that game. It is kind of hard to explain. So many LSU fans sold their tickets. And the reason why they sold their tickets is because later in the year, LSU was still going to play Alabama at home. So LSU still had a huge home game left on the schedule. The reason why LSU fans sold their tickets is because Georgia fans were coming to Baton Rouge in record numbers. And if you ask anybody that tailgated that day, they would tell you that Georgia fans were everywhere on Baton Rouge's campus. Now, why was that the case? Well, because of the way the SEC schedule is set up, Georgia only plays LSU once every 6 years. So that means with the way the SEC schedule is set up, the 8-game conference schedule, that means you only play once in Baton Rouge every 12 years. So for about, I would say, more than half of the SEC fans that are Georgia fans, that's probably the only opportunity they ever get to go to Tiger Stadium. So, because LSU fans knew that there was going to be another home game later in the year, like an Alabama game, they decided to sell their tickets, which is justifiably the right thing to do. If you want to sell your tickets, sell your tickets. They're your tickets. But that's why there were so many Georgia fans in Tiger Stadium. I was getting so many texts from friends saying, holy crap, there are a lot of Georgia Bulldogs in Tiger Stadium. That's because they wanted to go to Baton Rouge, because that's the only time you ever get to go to Baton Rouge if you're a Georgia fan, unless you wanted to wait 12 more years. Now, if the SEC changes their schedule from this point forward, which I think there's discussions about that happening, that obviously changes a whole lot. But so that's what makes that LSU win that much more impressive, because your home field crowd advantage was still there. You still had more fans than the other guys. It's just there was an obscene amount of Georgia Bulldogs in Tiger Stadium, and it was because of that. It's because of the stupid SEC scheduling rules. Ironically, that game kept Georgia out of the college football playoff because remember, they ended up only losing one more game the rest of the year, and that was a close game to Alabama, and they still almost got in the playoff over Oklahoma. So it was a weird game. Cole Tracy was money. Cole Tracy was, you make an argument, he's the best kicker at LSU ever. For 1 year, obviously, Colt David's in that discussion, Josh Jasper. But Cole Tracy was money. And Cole Tracy has a walk-off, win it or lose it kick to his resume. There's not many of those in LSU history. I like the SEC scheduling rules, but I wish we didn't have to play Florida every year. So I hear this a lot, and I get a lot of text saying this. And I'm dead serious, Bulldog Guitar. I get this a lot. I like the SEC scheduling rules, but I wish we didn't have to play Florida every year. So that means you're juxtaposing yourself, okay? And Chris says he likes playing Florida every year. I don't. And the only reason I don't like playing Florida every year was because, well, it's unfair. It is very unfair that LSU has to play Florida every year. Okay? Because the cross-division rival rule to this day is the dumbest, and I mean dumbest, rule I have ever seen in the history of sports scheduling. The cross-division rival rule makes no sense. It makes little sense. It doesn't make any ounce of sense. But we got to keep the rivalry between Alabama and Tennessee. No, you don't. No, you don't. Every rivalry people say we have to preserve in the SEC are rivalries that you don't have to preserve in the SEC. LSU's biggest rival is not Florida. I'll tell you this. Florida's biggest rival sure as heck isn't LSU. Alabama's biggest rival is not Tennessee. Auburn's biggest rival is not Georgia. We can get rid of these games, okay? Because if you're Georgia and Auburn and you're LSU and Florida, it is very unfair that you have to play each other every year. No, I still believe this no matter the year, James. You should not be forced to play Florida every year. You should not be forced to play anybody every year. Thank you, Kevin. Exactly. You should not preserve something that is inherently unfair. Okay? It's stupid. Oh, my bad. And guess what, James? You're right about that. This is a weak mindset for me. Okay? Not gonna lie. It is a weak mindset. But the truth is the truth. In that it hurts LSU greatly. And here's why. Okay? Perfect example. So, let's say LSU in 2018. Okay? And tell me if I'm wrong, James. This is a perfect example about why this is unfair. But when we beat them, it helps us greatly. I actually disagree with that, and I'm going to explain why. It helps you greatly when it comes to your resume, but ultimately, if you're in the SEC, your resume comes down to one thing. Don't lose more than one game, okay? Perfect example of this. Let's say in 2018, hypothetically, LSU played Florida earlier in the year, okay? And then they beat Florida. And then they, oh, well, no. take that away. Let's say LSU lost in Gainesville in 2018, which they did. Okay, Joe Burrow threw a pick six late. You remember the game. So let's say LSU went on to beat Georgia, which they did. And let's say in 2018, theoretically, that LSU beat Alabama. And that would have been Alabama's only loss in the SEC. Okay? And let's say LSU lost to Texas A&M, which they did. If that happened, okay, that means even though LSU beat Bama, because LSU has 2 losses and Bama only has 1, that Bama goes to the SEC championship game. Okay? That is really unfair because Bama's cross-division rival is Tennessee, and Tennessee is not as good as Florida and has not been for a very long time. Okay? The schedule is too imbalanced that way because LSU has to play Florida every year. It is such a huge advantage that Alabama gets to play Tennessee every year. It's a huge advantage because Tennessee is a near automatic victory, where Florida is a coin flip every single freaking year. And that is unfair, okay? You are right. It is a weak mindset, okay? And if I was a player, I would probably not have that mindset. But if that happened, let's say LSU did beat Bama in 2018, that 7 overtime loss to Texas A&M cost you a chance to go to the SEC championship game, thus costing you a chance to go to the college football playoff. Simply because Bama gets such an easier schedule. It's the truth. There's no denying that. Go ask any Georgia or Auburn fan, okay? They feel the same way. They like playing each other every year. It is the oldest rivalry we have in the SEC. But if you actually rationally speak to them, they will tell you that it is unfair that those 2 great programs have to play each other every year. And if you hate Texas A&M, it wasn't until this year South Carolina got any good. Okay? Since the cross-division rival rule, Texas A&M and South Carolina have gotten to play every year. Guess what's happened? Texas A&M has won all 6 matchups. Why did LSU leapfrog Ohio State in the CFP playoff rankings after the SEC title game last year? The Florida win, you agree? Well, it was part of the reason, okay? The Florida win was part of the reason, but also beating Texas on the road, also beating a far better team in the SEC championship game. That's a little bit different, though. That's a little bit of a different hypothetical. Simply, and Florida did help that out a lot. But the reason why, okay, this is how it was explained to me by someone in the committee. So I've interviewed Bill Hancock, who is the head of the College Football Playoff Committee, multiple times. So one thing that really hurt LSU last year, okay, if you look at any resume, if you look at, and it's all, and Kevin makes a good point, Ohio State really struggled with Wisconsin the second time they played them, and LSU beat the daylights out of Georgia. I mean, beat the brakes off of them, and that game was played in Atlanta. So the reason why, and this is what pisses me off, okay? So part of the reason what hurt LSU so much last year is these metrics called game efficiency or game domination. The exact term is the permanent cross-division rival. It could change. It very well could change if the SEC decides to permanently stay with 10 teams. We don't know if these smaller non-power fives like Northwestern or whoever is going to be able to survive all of this. We don't know. Game control. Thank you, James. Okay. So Ohio State dominated all these stupid metrics called like game control. All right. LSU had good game control, but not excellent game control. You want to know why? Because LSU gave up that late touchdown to Auburn, and LSU gave up that late touchdown to Texas. When you were up by 2 possessions. So LSU comfortably won those games. They were kind of competitive. But because they gave up those garbage time touchdowns, it hurt your game control. But anyone with 2 eyes, anyone that actually watched college football last year, could easily tell what LSU did last year before the college football playoff even happened, before the SEC championship game even happened. Anyone with 2 eyes that actually sat down and watched those games could tell you, even if you don't factor in eye test and you just factor in resume, LSU was a far better team than Ohio State. Anyone could tell you that. Lopez won tonight. Was it a boxing match? Yeah, it's a boxing match, right? I remember that. So one day we're going to learn, and that's a good point from Paper Airplane. One day we're going to learn what the deal was with Coach O and Aranda. I don't know. This is, okay. This is my theory, all right? I've dug deep. I've tried to figure out what the deal is with Coach O and Aranda. Ironically, the SEC Network 1 hour special on the LSU 2019 team did not include one mention or one camera shot of Dave Aranda, which goes to James's point that it makes Coach O look petty. Here's what I think happened. So I was told by sources that the Dave Aranda to New Mexico thing was a very real thing. Okay, Bruce Feldman reported it. So once I heard that Bruce Feldman reported it, it was more than likely true. But then I also know Bruce Feldman is very close to Coach Orgeron. He wrote Coach Orgeron's book, or UNLV, excuse me. New Mexico, UNLV, Mountain West, whatever. That kind of goes along with this point. There was rumors that Dave Aranda was going to some small school, and we knew Dave Aranda was eventually going to get a Power 5 coaching job. How do rumors leak? Well, we know Bruce Feldman is close with Ed Orgeron. Wouldn't surprise me if Ed Orgeron actually leaked that out. I don't know. That's just me speculating. I probably shouldn't do that. But how that news actually broke, we don't know. What we do know, though, is that for some reason or another, they didn't get along. Why? Not so sure. I don't find Dave Aranda to be a guy that is hard to coincide with. Maybe Ed Orgeron thought, as a defensive-minded coach, that the LSU defense should have been better last year. If you look at the Alabama and Texas halves, I can see it. I thought Dave Aranda was fine last year. Texas and Alabama frustrated the hell out of me too. This just happens a lot. I think. So what is the philosophical phrase? It's called Occam's razor. I think the simplest solution is the solution, and I think Chris just said it. Coach O wanted to run a 4-3 defense. And I think Coach O compensated or overcompensated with that decision because he hired Bo Pelini, who runs a 4-3 defense. So we'll see. Aranda was to bend, don't break, but Bo Pelini was a terrible replacement. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Bend, don't break, because Aranda played a bunch of bump and run. So maybe, I'm not sure. We led Vanderbilt of all teams scored 30 plus. Are you talking about last year? Because we talked about that earlier. For anyone to get mad at LSU for giving up over 30 points to Vanderbilt last year is kind of gobbledygook. Okay. So, I'm going to bring it back up. All right. And I overreacted too to the 30 points. Okay. The reason why LSU gave up so many points to Vanderbilt, okay, is because LSU scored so damn quickly, okay? When you score quickly, it is hard to play defense, okay? LSU also had a blocked punt for a touchdown, all right? So when LSU scored quickly, what's up, Shido? You have to play a lot of snaps, all right? So take a look at the games where LSU did not play well, okay? There was only 4 games last year where LSU gave up over 30 points. All 4 of those games were on the road, okay? And to make matters worse, LSU gave up 37 or more points in all 4 of those games. Vanderbilt is the one I'm actually the most lenient about. It was an 11 a.m. game, and LSU scored ridiculously quickly, okay? Now, should you give up that many points to Vanderbilt? Probably not. But LSU had just played Texas a few weeks prior. It's kind of weird to play your first 11 a.m. game. LSU was kind of banged up defensively. So, yeah, Ole Miss is another example, okay? And Chris makes a good point. Jamar scored immediately, every single time, all right? Brennan threw a pick 6. So the game was played at a weird pace. But legit, that was maximum LSU offense. And when you score that fast, you got to play a lot of snaps, and it sucks. And it's hard if you're Dave Aranda, because even Dave Aranda, he knew LSU was going to play faster. It's impossible for him to even know that LSU was going to be that good. Now, the Ole Miss game is a little different. I also defend LSU, all right? I did a whole video on the Ole Miss game. So, this is why you watch this channel, because we get down and deep. All right, I know this simply because I've seen the behind the scenes, all right? I've been lucky enough to go into the LSU facility. So, athlete recovery is such a huge advantage at a school like LSU for a few reasons. Number one is that LSU devotes an unreal amount of resources to athlete recovery. So they were one of the first schools to have this technology called Perch, okay? I could get into it. I did a whole video on it, the Tommy Moffitt. I don't remember the episode, but once you see Tommy Moffitt's face, I explain all of this in detail. So, LSU does very deep recovery methods. All right. It is way harder to do recovery, athlete recovery, simply because you're on the road compared to being at home. All right. So, what makes that difficult, if you look at the Ole Miss game, is that, and this is why Ed Orgeron wanted the Missouri game to be played at 11, because they were going to have to go on the road and play Florida this weekend. Because when you play the game at 11, you get home at a decent hour. The athlete can sleep in his own bed. He's not getting in at 4 in the morning. So, after the Bama game, all right, all the LSU athletes stayed longer for the Bama game because, you had the celebration. They didn't get home from that game until 4 in the morning, okay? And I know a lot of you are commenting with other things. So after playing that game at 4 in the morning, Grant Delpit was really hurt, all right? For some reason, he got hurt even worse against Ole Miss, okay? The way Rich Rod calls his plays, you got to have good safety play. Grant Delpit was playing with one leg. Nevertheless, LSU, on a weird sleep schedule, had to play back-to-back road games for the first time since 2016. That was the last time LSU played a road game, and then the very next week had to play a road game against Ole Miss. I cannot express how difficult that is to do when you never do it. It's hard on your coaches. It's hard on your player management. It's hard on your athlete recovery. So should LSU have given up 600 yards to John Rice Plumlee, who's not even starting? No. But that's why it happened. LSU was really banged up. Christian Fulton was hurt against Ole Miss too. And LSU was just shot after that Bama game. And LSU scored really quickly against Bama too. So the snap count was really high. And it's hard to play a fast quarterback. Lots of misdirection. They ran a completely different offense in Alabama. And Tua is not a mobile quarterback, so you didn't have to worry about a mobile QB. Bad hire, Ed was in his emotions. Bo needs to go. What's up, Max? Welcome. I would wait until after the Bama game. I would agree. I actually would wait until the end of the year. Because sometimes people, we love this crazy sport of college football. Remember, the business of college football, and we can discuss the NIL, we can discuss whether or not players get paid. The bottom line is that the business of college football and college athletics as a whole is stupid. Okay? This organization called the NCAA, which generates billions of dollars through its athletics every single year, is also a nonprofit organization. So, guess what? The business of all of this is really stupid. Okay? To go even one step further, I don't care how you donate your money is your money. But LSU for a long time was the only school in the SEC that had more private donations to its athletic department compared to its academics. So the last time the funding was shown publicly, LSU had $2 million more, $47 million donated to athletics compared to $45 million to academics. So this whole thing is just crazy, all right? So for you to fire Bo Pelini midway through the year, or even after the Bama game, you would have to fork over millions of dollars. Now, I don't know what his exact buyout language is. Buyout languages can be weird. If he takes another job immediately, if he takes another head coaching, I don't know what the language is like on buyout contracts. But the bottom line is that in the middle of a pandemic, a year where LSU is not producing revenue in a major way because fans full capacity can't go. LSU football is not providing the same revenue to Baton Rouge as they normally do. You're telling what should be an academic institution to fork over $6 million to Bo Pelini just for him to leave. You can't do that midway through the year, especially knowing that we may or may not have fans next year. So that's a problem. You just can't do it. For those that just joined us, I mixed in all the LSU cards. I wonder if this is actually worth anything. I think you missed this, Shadow. He should resign. Why? Would you tell me this, Kevin? Would you resign knowing that if you got fired, you would get $6 million just to leave? No, you wouldn't resign. I pulled this 7th grade Christian McCaffrey card out of this Army All-American Bowl. Also pulled a Patrick Peterson. I know, Kevin. It's wild. Let me show you if you just joined us. I got a Patrick Peterson in here I want to show y'all. Ronnie Wingo was not a tight end. He was a running back for Arkansas. I got Vontaze Burfict right here. If you're just joining us, let's see. AJ McCarron, Drake Kirkpatrick. Where are you, PP7? Let me see. I don't know. I still want to know. I don't know, Shadow. I want to know the backstory of the hire. Let's see. So this was a special card in this pack of Bryce Brown game worn jersey. That is nothing. That is straight trash. Y'all remember Beanie Wells? Vince Young? I guess I put all these LSUs at the bottom. Look at this. Reggie Bush, Army All-American game. Yeah, Bryce Brown was a running back for Tennessee that wasn't any good. And here we go. It's my favorite pull. Look at that. Patrick Peterson, U.S. Army All-American. I thought this kid was going to be something for us. Chris Davenport. And then this was cool. Y'all remember this guy? Go Steelers. Okay. I'm down with the Steelers. I don't like Chase Claypool taking away my boy Juju's targets. I don't follow LSU basketball that close. I just bought a Jordan Mickey Jarrell Martin autograph card for $6 total. Claypool's a beast, though. Steelers know how to get some wide receivers, I'll tell you that. McLeod's got some speed. There we go. That's cool. When I did this live stream tonight, I didn't think anybody was going to watch because they didn't announce, so we were going to do it. Let's see. Cam Thomas. The next Chris Jackson? You sound like Orgeron here. No, I'm just kidding. Who do you like, Jesse? Who's LSU's basketball starting lineup? Did that kid number 2, the 5-star, come back? Trenton Watford, isn't that his name? Oh, he came back. Okay. I didn't know Trenton Watford came back. And Javonte Smart is only a junior. So we got Darius Days taking over for our boy Skylar Mays in the number 4. Parker Edwards. So Cam Thomas is the real deal. Oak Hill Academy. Carmelo Anthony. Let's go. He came back? I did not know Trenton Wofford came back. So, yeah, they should be ranked. Cameron Thomas. 25 national. Okay. So I hope he's the next Chris Jackson. I just don't like you calling him the next Chris Jackson because you're basically telling him to be one of the greatest SEC basketball guards of all time. His name is retired, for goodness sakes. Or his number. I thought it was cool that McCurr Maker went to Howard. I think that's cool. Dang it, that is a good prospect. So Will Wade got a 5-star in 2020, 5-star in 2019. Trenton Watford a 5-star, yeah. And then in 2018, did he get a 5-star in 2018? He got Naz Reid in 2018. And then in 2017, did he get a 5-star? Tremont Waters was only a 4-star. Okay. But he was a high level 4-star. Yeah, he was a top 50 player. So 2016. Javonte Smart a 5-star? Let's see. Wasn't Javonte Smart a highly recruited kid? Let me see. I don't see him. Josh Jackson, is he any good? Well, he doesn't get arrested or something like that. Let's see. Kobe Bryant card sold. Let's see. Let's see what this one sold for. No. But 250. Let's see. All right, guys. Let's see. What's up, Corey? Joe Burrow PSA 10. So I sold all my Joe Burrow draft pick cards thinking that I was going to buy them for cheaper down the road, but they have not gotten cheaper just yet. Let's see. But anyway. Yeah, it could be a top 25 team. I have no idea what the college basketball season is going to look like next year, if we even have a season. Let's see. I've got a lot of gray hair, guys. Look at that. Anybody in Fayetteville next weekend? That's where I'm going to be. Not gonna lie, I don't care about LSU baseball. I went to the 2009 College World Series, and then that was a pinnacle for me. I got to stay the full 2 weeks in Omaha. Bregman, I like Ray Frimes, and I saw freaking God, what's his name at the national championship game? Crap, what's his name? I was hammered when I talked to him. God, he wore the number 8 jersey. Had a really high batting average. I forgot. You're camping in the Ozarks, like Arkansas Ozarks. That's cool. I haven't watched LSU baseball since they lost to Florida in the championship. I was camping. I got a Palminieri bobblehead too, actually. I don't know. I think Manieri hates me. I don't remember the last time I talked to him. Well, I'm tick infested. So I've lived in Arkansas a long time, never been to the Ozarks. All right, guys. Well, I'm about to go knock out. My girlfriend probably hates me talking about the seafood debacle. If y'all missed it, when I get on this live stream, my mom called in and she said something really funny about Gary Danielson. Is Ed Orgeron on the hot seat? I know it's late. Kevin, stop. Are you guys being serious? Are you really being serious right now? Guys, please. We've had such a great live stream, and I was ready to go to sleep, and I like Kevin, and I like LSU fan. I don't know who LSU fan is, and I honestly don't know who Kevin is, but Kevin's been watching our live streams. Kevin, you're a rational person. This year is just hard to watch, man. But what about last year when Ed Orgeron fielded the greatest team of all time? Now, does that mean Ed Orgeron's going to be Nick Saban? No. But guess what? It's hard to be Nick Saban. Is Ed Orgeron going to be Dabo Swinney? It's kind of hard to be as good as Dabo Swinney. But you don't fire this guy after, no. Or put him on the high. Ed Orgeron's seat is as lukewarm as it could be. Do these first 3 games suck? Yes. If we start next year like we started this year, then yeah, we might be reaching Gene Chizik territory. But think about it this way, okay? A lot of your best players this year have been true freshmen, okay? Your quarterback looks pretty good. He'll be even better next year than he is this year. You got a top 5 recruiting class this year. You're killing it on the JUCO and transfer market. This year sucks? Yeah. But forget that nonsense. And he's the best. He's not just an elite recruiter. He's arguably the best recruiter of all time. Especially if you take it from a positional coach standpoint. But, he's in the Mount Rushmore of recruiting, if there is such a thing, with Nick Saban and whoever else. Why should Derek Mason get fired? Why should any coach at Vanderbilt ever get fired? Like what freaking Franklin did was ridiculous. One thing that's not going to help Derek Mason is Arkansas being good, because then the Vanderbilt brass will be like, "Well, I mean, come on, what's the deal?" I do know Vanderbilt. I do know Vanderbilt has switched up their athletic directors, and I think it's weird because the most important thing you do as an athletic director is hire a football coach and hire a basketball coach. Those are the two most important things you do. Okay. So yeah, I think firing Derek Mason is reasonable, especially if you have a new AD. Now, I believe every athletic director should have the opportunity to hire their first football coach or hire a football coach themselves. I give far more leniency to athletic directors um, who don't who don't get to hire a football coach whenever they first get there. Every AD should have the opportunity to get the most important thing you do right. But anyway, we're coming up on 2 hours here. Do you guys have any more questions before we get out of here? Okay, because we're getting down into the mid-20s, not temperature-wise, but viewers-wise. Maybe Celsius. I don't know. It's late. I'm going nuts. Any more questions before we sign this thing off? And then I go upstairs and snuggle my dog and my girlfriend. Vanderbilt's a baseball school? Probably right. Well, all right, guys. Oh, hey, what's up, James? You're still here. Give us a final score in the South Carolina game. LSU wins 34-33. Latest scholarship offer? Who was it? I don't know. I was out of pocket these last few days, honestly. I'm interested, though. What channel was the boxing on? Was the boxing on I know they just offered the kid Eli Manning's nephew's top receiver. Notice I didn't say Peyton. AJ Johnson. I saw that. Was he 2021? Who was the kid? Oh, they gave Matthew Languise, my dude out of New Roads? Oh, that's the best freaking news ever. Are you kidding me? The kid out of New Roads? They gave him an offer? Hell yes. Let's go. He really got an offer? Oh. How did I miss this? Let's go. I'm fired up, man. I just got a freaking jolt. I really did not know that. Wow. So I posted a recruiting video. When did this happen? On October? Oh yeah. Ugh. Let me see. Yeah, I guess I just missed it. I posted a recruiting video on Thursday. That is crazy. I'm reading this right now. I hope he comes, man. That's a good question, James. Because these slots are tight right now. So LSU's going to leave a slot open for Foreman, Smith. I guess they don't feel good about Makuba anymore, and then the Sage Ryan thing. Maybe that puts some pressure on Sage Ryan to say, "Hey, we need you. Come on." Coach O said the other day he had some silent commits. I did not see the Matthew Langlois thing. That is, I swear to you, I didn't. And normally I don't miss anything. I don't follow day-to-day recruiting like as tight as I once did. But it's pretty nuts that they offered him. But did they ever offer the kid out of they never offered the kid out of U High, the Jordan Gilbert kid. So they offered Langlois, and I know everyone's expecting the Gilbert kid to go to Alabama. And then I remember this, and then there's Javon Grigsby out of Scotlandville, where Kelvin Joseph's from. I've not looked at this in a while. It's interesting. I did not know that. Kool-Aid, yeah, that definitely means that LSU doesn't feel good about McKinstry. So I hope the kid from New Roads goes. All the guys from 247 are saying the kid from New Roads. Here's what I think's happening here. Okay, if you were wanting my super duper expert opinion on this, I think LSU just wants to make sure that they get 2 safeties in this class, especially knowing that the safety position has been such a freaking disaster this year. Todd Harris is probably gone after this year. Mo Hampton has looked meh. So, if this kid is obviously showing Joseph got a pick 6. I didn't watch a bunch of SEC football today. It's good. Proud for Kelvin. I straight up asked him though why he left LSU. I never got a response because he followed me on Twitter a long time ago. Let me see. Kelvin Joseph gave a post-game interview. I need video of this pick 6. Let me see. Why is it so hard to find a damn video? That was stupid to try and run over a linebacker. It's just so dumb. Run the freak out of bounds. It's never worth that extra yard. It never is worth it. So I had a bunch of betting sharps tell me that Lopez was going to beat Lomachenko. So was that Lopez upset over Lomachenko a big upset, James? Let me see.
Things are really uncertain in the world right now.
I hate that every ad leads with that. Oh, this was on ESPN. Was it just on regular ESPN? Or was it on ESPN Plus? Ooh, I see you. Oh, Tampa won tonight. But the Dodgers tied it up? Are you kidding me? Oh, Alex Bregman went 1 for 4 and a strikeout tonight. Ah, that sucks. It's kind of weird to see the Rays win all these games, and there's only one guy I could name on their roster before the thing even began. Walter Payton? Tell that to Walter Payton it isn't worth the extra yard. We really got to the point of the live stream where we compared Miles Brennan, a quarterback, to one of the greatest running backs of all time. So I think that's probably good for us to sign off on that. And I do like the name Sons of Edelweiss. What does Sons of Edelweiss means? Oh my God. I hate it when politicians use their kids to make a point. That is that is the worst thing to use. Imagine it's 2 a.m. Is it? Oh shucks, it is. Well, it's 1 a.m. Jesse, you're in South Carolina. Astros had no trash cans. It's true. Fred Dean died? Where do you go to college? I saw that. Uh, he was Louisiana Tech. Oh, that's right. He didn't. That's interesting. So are you still living in Ruston, James? Let's see. Oh man, I got up at 7 this morning. I normally don't get up till about 10. Oh, that's right, Houston, but you're from Ruston. If not, I'd come down and have a drink with you, man. They got Rotolo's in Ruston. They got Chick-fil-A in Ruston. They got the Canes. Oh, Issa Rae on SNL tonight. Who's a musical guest? SNL's had some good hosts lately. They had Bieber. What's a Bieber? They had Chris Rock, Bill Burr.
Being dragged on social media feels like a low stakes horror movie where when you're on it, it feels like, oh my God, what am I going to do? They're coming for me. Where do I go? And then your battery dies, and then you're just like, oh, I guess I'll just go outside.
One of the top richest small towns per capita. That doesn't surprise me. College City. My favorite restaurant on the planet, owned by some of my friends in Baton Rouge, Bovines. Bovines is my favorite restaurant I've never eaten at a restaurant better than that. And I know my friends own it, but I freaking love that place. Freaking love Bovines. I still haven't watched the Liverpool highlights today. $100 millionaires in Ruston? That kind of makes sense because Bovines is a little, you gotta. I only go like once or twice a year because I don't have Bovines money. Oh, 100 millionaires in Ruston? It has a population of what? Like, what does James Davidson do? Let's see. Sue Bird, Megan Rapinoe. What is this? Oh. Squire Creek? What is that? All right, Jesse. We'll see you on Tuesday night, man. We should have a video posted by then. What is this? I need to go my ass to bed, too. $91.3? $91.3 million? That is crazy. Just off stocks. Auburn wants Hugh Freeze. That'd be a good fit. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off here. And if you need anything, shoot a message to me at Carter the Power. See ya.